Friends, hello everyone! I am glad to welcome you to the Holly Lolly channel, and today we will talk about real life of a Japanese school child, and is it really as complex as they say? Japanese schools are known for their strict, sometimes even strange rules. They can be so amazing that sometimes it's even difficult to believe that this is actually true. Of course, you should not believe all the information you read on the internet, because very often the facts are distorted, exaggerated, and old information is presented as real. But, of course, the Japanese education system is very different from ours and from the one which we see, for example, in anime. Since I have two wonderful children, son goes to 2nd grade in the school, and my daughter goes to kindergarten. I will also tell you about how they differ Japanese kindergartens from our usual kindergartens and schools. And I would still like to start from the main, so to speak, attribute of a school child is a backpack. Look what kind of backpack there is. First, having arrived in Japan and seeing a schoolboy with such a backpack, I remembered the backpacks from the Soviet Union that I saw in old films. But on the other hand, take a closer look, it is very well made, and what I like is that the back is very correct. Anyway, let's take a closer look. My son is in 2nd grade, and he already has this protective surface on the backpack is missing. But when he went to 1st grade, there was also this protective thing on the backpack, a certain case that told everyone around that, attention, this is a 1st grader, he returns home alone. Because here everyone goes home, as I have said more than once, on their own, and there's like a reflective tape here, and so that everyone saw what school there was, the name of the school. And the child walks alone, behold, he will cross the road on his own, he raises his handle up, so that all motorists can see that the baby is coming. And he definitely had a hat like this in 1st grade, also yellow, so everyone could see her. In general, I don't know what's what. Something is written here, and, of course, where is she? It's signed. For every child, of course, they come, take them off, hang them up, there are special hooks there, and then they put them on. And such a baby, of course, is hard not to notice, because he is all bright, walking home alone at 6 years old. Sometimes I even see 1st graders driving on their own in the metro, figure out the system, get there. Of course, it's very safe here, so no one worries that the child may somehow not get there or get into an unpleasant situation, because that they will always give him advice and help. There are a lot of police here who are also watching they are in order and they will help if necessary. Here, there is such a thing, danger signal, I would say. In general, if a child is in danger, the child should pull this thing. I've never done that. I'll try to do it now, but I know that there is a terrible, simply terrible sound, it is screaming, and, of course, it attracts the attention of others, and the police, so that the policeman who is there in this block, quickly ran and provided assistance. Of course, you can't just indulge in this. Yes, the children know that this is all very strict. If I succeed now turn it on, I'm just afraid that I'll turn it on now, but then I won't shut her up. Okay, let's experiment. That's the sound. I think this is where the batteries run out. The batteries need to be replaced. This is already such a signaling device for me, because that the sound is unreal, it is screaming. By the way, we had a situation when in 1st grade he accidentally pulled, and there was a very loud sound, louder than now. Now let's see what the backpack looks like inside. By the way, very convenient clasp. Look, there's a latch. Here, you opened it, and you close it, it latches automatically. What do we have here? You can put their folders and copybooks. And by the way, yes, from me, which is probably a very massive heavy backpack. He himself probably weighs 1.2 kilograms. But despite all this, the child does not carry books. He has a tablet in his class. Plus there are books that he leaves there. He basically brings home some tasks that need to be made. Basically, like this is a fairly roomy backpack. Of course, he basically puts everything inside so as we are used to, because Japanese children, there are a lot of hooks, and Japanese children come and they hang everything here, everything that is needed. And it's just not a child walking, but some kind of New Year tree. Why? Because they carry everything in bags on hooks on their backpacks. You should always have a tablecloth with you. In a bag like this. When a child sits down to eat, he covers his desk, because children in Japanese schools eat in their class. So, in fact, they spread it, and then they go their cutlery, plates, cups will be placed. But I'll tell you about this a little later. And, of course, we sign every item. Here is our identification mark that this is Sasha's bag, and the same tablecloth is also his. since in schools children should have absolutely everything is the same, of course, everything needs to be signed. And we order these stickers. For example, my daughter has a cat in kindergarten, this her identification badge so that the child can find a cabinet with a picture of the animal that they choose at the beginning of the year. And, of course, so does my son. We, of course, are probably the only ones who ordered English-speaking ones because that basically everyone orders Japanese, of course, stickers, but the child can find and read it himself whether it is a thing, and, in fact, to discover it among other similar identical things. Also, the child carries with him every day this thermos, which also needs to be signed, and, in fact, there pour either water or tea without sugar when you can warm up in winter, and in summer, on the contrary, quench your thirst. And, you know, Japanese children wear, like this thermos, or they also somehow manage to attach it somehow to the backpack and carry all this burden. The school uniform is also attached to the backpack and hooks. School uniform, children bring it in on Monday, and on Friday they pick it up for washing. What does it consist of? Also the same bag, which must be signed. The cap, it's reversible, because, for example, today you're playing on the white team, and you have your team white, and tomorrow you will play on the red team, so you turned out the cap, and such a universal thing. This form. And what surprises me and, of course, upsets me a little is the fact that children are required to walk both in winter and summer in shorts with bare legs. That is, it doesn't matter, +5 degrees there or almost +40, you're walking in these signed shorts and a t-shirt. Here, I took school uniform for washing. This is what it looks like. And children are not allowed to wear anything under it. It's +5 degrees here, it probably feels like ours -10, and therefore very, you know, it's cold. All the children, Japanese children are seasoned, unfortunately no. He's just trying, and every time he says, I hate physical education because that you just have to wear a t-shirt on your naked body, you can't wear anything on top, and only shorts, everything, sneakers. And the whole physical education lesson happens on the street. You have to freeze, but study. These are the rules, and nothing can be done about it. Also needed for the same backpack one more bag where, in fact, the child will put the uwabaki. These are special white slippers, because that in Japan white is a symbol of purity. Just when the child goes to school, he be sure to leave your shoes in a special place when entering place and changes his shoes into these slippers that we just bought new ones because it's passing a month or two, and already these white ones turn into black ones. You need to replace them, of course, and sign them. Here are the slippers, which also go to the wash once a week, and then again on Monday it's all in a bag, everything goes into a backpack, and the child takes it to school. You know, another interesting thing is I thought it was worth recording, but he wasn't worth it. When I was actually sorting out Sasha's briefcase, I found another bag there. Because, well, last night he came with school, I didn't look in my backpack. But today, as if, well, actually, everything needs to be washed. And I found another bag. In general, it contains just such a robe. He is now in my other classes. I will definitely ask him, what is this for? Well, in general, on Monday the Japanese children are all they go like these little Christmas trees, you know, with backpacks like these and these all the bags and go to school. But then they go for a whole week, basically, with a backpack, wherever the pencil case is. Back at the previous school, of course, Sasha only went there 2 months past, but there was such a mandatory diary, mandatory temperature measurement every morning, mother's signature. Well, here's some homework. Here, at this school, Sasha began to go to the month of September. So far only the 4th month he has been walking, and the teacher already said that at least he began to understand something. Because he had not studied Japanese before, he didn't understand, and he just sat and watched for a lot of time at the ceiling. He was trying to understand something. I always give him a pocket talk translator to help him. It's very similar, a convenient thing. You speak here and choose a language on which you need to translate, and he voices it. It is also very convenient that the translator has a camera. You take a photo and choose a language to which the translation needs to be made. And, in fact, this is how my child survives in a Japanese school. Children store their stationery at school itself, in a box like this. That is, you bring something, replace something, open it, put it down here, and then this box is stored in the hole under the desk. You probably heard that there are no cleaners in Japanese schools. This is true. Children run home sadly after school, and they are divided into small groups and secured behind them is a certain cleaning area. These are classrooms, corridors, toilets. Of course, one of the children washes the windows. With all this, of course, it is very good that just everyone leaves their street shoes and wears slippers. And even if you, here, a parent, came for child to school, then you also owe yourself bring your slippers and leave them at the entrance own shoes and walk around school in slippers. Unfortunately, in Japanese schools, filming is prohibited. I would show you more. But I filmed with a hidden camera and was at least a little able to show what a Japanese school looks like. I'll make an insert and show a few frames. As I said earlier, children eat in the same room in which they study, and I had the opportunity to see this process several times. This is really something amazing, because the children are in a second they turn into such little cooks. By the way, I understood what that package was for. So, they wear these white robes, put a cap on their head, and then they distribute food to children from special carts. Several children bring these pots, and, in fact, the children who are at the distribution, they serve and distribute food. There are also children who lay out cutlery, and then everyone, after he has eaten, they all go, wash after themselves, clean up, they wipe everything down and take it all to the kitchen. And they hand over everything, clean dishes, clean pots. I know that in some schools children bring obentu, but in our school there are just children, they eat the food that is prepared for them. I know. By the way, we are given a piece of paper with everything written on it there for 30 days, relatively speaking. The food that will be there are children, and, to be honest, I do half the titles I don't understand. I translate through a translator. I say, Sasha, I don't know what you will eat today, but I believe that it will be very, very tasty. And, you know, I'm probably due to the fact that no matter how many products I've tried, I still don't understand how to cook them, what to do with them. I wouldn't even be able to cook what he eats at school, because at school every day there is something different, and like this, even for a whole month, it doesn't repeat itself. That is, you try something unique every time. He told me the parish tells. I don't know what I ate, but it was so delicious and it makes me happy. For the Japanese, all lessons are held in one classroom. That is, if we have middle, senior school, children run around the floors and change rooms, audience, then here everything is the other way around. All lessons are held in the same class, only teachers and subjects change. The most important deception with anime, this is what all school children wear, such cool, bright, colorful shape. It's unique. It has something of its own features. Hair can be all kinds of colors. Yes, then, of course, in reality everything is not so colorful. Of course, depending on the school, some elementary school students have school uniform, others do not have one. Primary school includes grades 1 to 6. We are now just at the school where primary school does not need to wear any kind of compulsory school uniform. That is, children basically come, well, that is, you wear some discreet pants there, preferably dark in color, and there is a jacket, a sweater, but without a hood, so that there no one could pull you by that hood. And then it becomes mandatory school uniform for everyone. Let's talk about what it is like. What are the differences, for example, from the same anime? Of course, you might think, well, our countries have compulsory school uniforms. Yes, I'll tell you, but, of course, since in Japan, that's how strict the rules are about what the style must be specific. That is, girls must be sure to wear a skirt without any tights, socks, closed shoes, and now I see socks on everyone just like for selection. They're so, you know, plump. I won't say of course, not wool, but dense. And, for example, in some schools here are pure white socks, in other schools there are dark blue. And even the shade should not be different. The skirt a certain length. Only in anime do we see sexualized schoolgirls in short skirts. In reality, skirts are below the knee and checkered. Here, in Japanese schools, it is not customary to stand out. Everyone must be the same and always wear closed shoes, even in 40-degree heat. I didn't know this rule. Because I think what difference does it make what the child comes, because they still leave their shoes at the entrance and changes into a wabaki, these little white slippers. But no, and I sent the child when I was actually the temperature there is about 38 degrees, I sent him in open shoes, as if arguing the fact that he will take it off anyway. And when the teacher saw this, she grabbed her head and told us that we must wear closed shoes. Elementary school children in Japan were not allowed to wear underwear in physical education lessons. The uniform had to be put on immediately on the naked body. This rule applied to both girls and boys and was justified by hygiene rules so that school children would not go all day in wet underwear, because they do not have the opportunity to take a shower after class. Primary school is already the age when do children begin to develop the concept of sexuality and interest in the opposite sex. Girls' breasts begin to grow, and everyone has some anatomical features that cause the child may be subject to discussion or even bullying. Many students felt unprotected and some were simply uncomfortable. In some schools, even in high school, girls were forbidden to wear a bra when playing sports. Most parents didn't even know about these rules, but over time more school children began to complain about him. When the parents learned about the ban, the topic was hotly raised throughout Japan. These rules were in effect until 2021. Nowadays they have been cancelled, and children either study in their underwear or take a change of clothes with them. What do you think about this? Of course, about hairstyling, makeup and jewelry in general I'm silent. You should forget about all this. Girls should not have their ears pierced, wear earrings, this is all strictly prohibited. Everyone's hair should be black and straight. No decorations or curls. And even if the child's hair is not black, often it will be necessary to prove that this hair color is child from birth, otherwise they may be asked to dye your hair because, well, the child is yours different from the rest, but there should be no differences. In some cases, students may wear only white underwear. This rule was introduced in order to comply high hygiene standards and also in order to so that the underwear does not show through the white blouse. But despite the strict dress code, the local students have their own, so to speak, tricks. For example, so that the skirt does not seem so long, here below the knees, students can tuck it in around the waist several times, thereby shortening the length. True, they use such a life hack used only outside of school. For example, after school, girls often go for a walk in some parks, communicate, or when they return home. Also, here are the socks. They have long socks, so that they wouldn't be so tense, but were a little bit lower. The girls use special glue, which is sold, such glue for socks, which is like since you are making the kind of reaper that you need, and stick it to your leg. Japanese students don't get D marks for homework that, they just have a debt left behind, which in any case, it will need to be closed. In anime, of course, everyone always falls in love with each other at school, but as far as Japanese schools are concerned, of course, all sorts of hugs, holding hands, giving Valentines for Valentine's Day is all the better leave outside the school. I'm already silent about kisses, and otherwise, parents may be called to school and even threaten expulsion from school. Also very interesting for me, so to speak, the discovery was that my son is very often runs on the roof during breaks. That is, they have a basic, central building, and just at recess behind them, of course, the teacher is watching, and there are such high fences, but the children frolic and run merrily on the roofs. And on the neighboring building, which also belongs to the school grounds, there is an outdoor swimming pool in all schools where children spring and autumn swim, play sports, exercise, in the pool. So in Japanese schools the space is limited, the roof is used to good effect. The school year in Japanese schools does not start at September, as we are used to, and in early April, it just coincides with the cherry blossom season, because the Japanese believe that this period is the land is reborn, the trees are reborn, so this period is considered best for students to go to school. Summer holidays here last only 1 month, and then you don't think that at this time the students do nothing but simply relax. Even during this period, they still periodically go to school, but only for all kinds of physical classes, for competitions, and, in principle, for to keep your body fit. Also, during the year, each student grows his own specific plant, and for the summer, for 1 month, he takes this plant to his home, waters it, weeds it, grows it, and also necessarily you need to send the teacher a photo and video report about how he gardens at home. By the way, about little gardeners. You know, for me it's kind of because I'm not used to it. It was strange for me. I put the child on new school sneakers. In the end, he came just like a little kid, all black. I say, "What did you do?" He says, "Mom, I was digging potatoes. And, in general, I brought this little bag in my backpack." You can't imagine my surprise. I say, "What is this?" He says these are potato leaves, who said to fry it at home in a frying pan. To be honest, I don't know what's wrong with this stuff. But it's very cute, funny, because he comes and says, "Oh, today we picked tomatoes at some lesson. Oh, they were digging potatoes, then they pulled it out, and then the next day they prepared it for them for lunch, what they actually harvested." It is very surprising, touching, and cannot help but please. But with this bag, to be honest, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I can leave potato leaves fry in general, what to do with it. But it's funny. Also, what came as a surprise to me, this is what summer holidays are like. The student must master some kind of musical instrument. That is, you choose the instrument you want to play, learn, practice, and basically learn. At least you master some basics, and keep a diary where describe in detail what you learned to do today. And then you send all this to the teacher too. Also in Japanese schools it is very often there are all sorts of different teachings. For example, once a month they have earthquake training, where each student must put on such a special protective cap and climb under the desk, while the alarm, siren, actually sounds, well, and then at the end, in principle, return for your workplace. Also the other day a policeman came and told students about the rules, in fact, about safety rules, how to behave on the road. Here, they gave me a bag like this. This is a signed Japanese police, very cute. What do you think? And of course there were some Japanese things, because they gave me this one brochure. Who do you think the main character is? Here it comes out. Ta damn! The main character here is a poop. The poop explains the rules traffic for the student. I know that many people are directly triggered by this topic. There many can write, like, this is ugh, etc., etc. But you know what I will tell you? Probably, well, what's my attitude or something? Yes, that in principle there is nothing wrong with this if the child will remember better what to do this way. It's impossible, it's dangerous, because we're just a child. We can reach out with some vivid images, associations, and communicate with a child at that level so that he understands. Yes, then why not such a strange hero? Although yes, well, inside, of course, it's funny, but, and in general, well, a child can remember that way. What does a kindergartner have in his backpack? Here is a backpack with the name of the kindergarten. The backpack must also be signed. Here in a child's pocket, a diary is kept where attendance is noted. Attendance is noted as follows. You come to class, take one sticker and glue it to the day that is on the calendar. This way you know whether there is you today, whether you are present or not. We have a lot more here. Here, this, I don't know, matryoshka doll, that is a bag in a bag, and there are many, many more bags. In our first such bag there is always a lunch box where the bento goes. A bento is lunch. And, I'm lucky because I'm here for lunch. I cook once a week, only on Fridays. Also cannot but rejoice. On other days the child, after all, he eats in the kindergarten. I order there, buy food. And by the way, I wanted to say a few words about how sensitive the Japanese are to food, how much they respect it. There is even this prefix o here. She always has a bento, lunch, o bento. This you treat dinner with respect. And that's what makes me very strong. I was amazed. This is my New Year's performance daughters, which happened just the other day. What we are used to, what is in our kindergartens, there, and in primary school on New Year's Eve they put on a matinee, and their children dress up as different heroes, there, as a fox, as wolves, they pretend, for example, that they are characters of some kind of mitten and so on. Then here the children were part a bento, part lunch, that is, the first group of children came out, and they sang, "What are we talking about, Nijirai?" And they took pride of place together in the lunchbox, sat down, then the cutlets came out, saying that we are cutlets, let us into the abento. And kids, they answered, yes, okay, come to us. Then the fish came out there, they sang that we are fish, we are useful, take us to the abento, let's take it. My daughter was broccoli at this matinee, and it so happened that she recently fell ill and did not participate in rehearsals. And she still doesn't understand Japanese well, and so she didn't quite understand what was happening. But it was all very funny and very friendly, and I would be very surprised, because the kids, there were vegetables, fruits, meat, fish, and they were just pretending to have lunch. Even just from this one point you can see how the Japanese treat food. They sometimes idolize it, they can talk for hours, and even stage plays. So, next, what else do we have in our backpack? There is also a little bag where once a month a plate is placed. The plate is for congratulations, that is, children in kindergarten are congratulated once a month. Everyone, for example, now it's December, everyone December ones were congratulated on the same day on their birthday. There are all sorts of sweets, congratulations, wishes. And here we have such a set of dining room's cutlery. There is a spoon, fork, and chopsticks. Children eat everything with chopsticks in kindergarten. Another bag. We have a hand towel there, of course, is also signed, and the child hangs it on his hook, because that they wash their hands, each wiping them with their own towel. Next is another bag, a bag with a cup, so that, again, the cup should be signed there. Bag signed thermos. Thermos again, a child on he carries it for himself and also gets some water there. Next we have another bag, where we, in fact, good riddance, and also as in school, it also spreads out on your desk, and, in fact, where the child will have his meals. We'll definitely have another cup. Let's insert something like this. This is a container with a wet towel, that is, remember, how do you come somewhere in a cafe, and in restaurants, they bring you a warm, damp towel. So, you wet the house every morning, put this towel under hot water and roll it up. You close it and put it in this bag for the child. In kindergarten we also have a mandatory uniform, then you can't walk around in your clothes. That is, it's winter now, and here's a shirt like this, a sweater like this is put on top. It's the same for everyone, and here the badge, of course, must have a name. Next, on top you put on a skirt like this with straps, and everyone's legs are bare, but I'm here and in general, it was clear. I said that the child would walk even in a skirt, but in pants or leggings warm, because, well, it's still cold, the child is very, very small. Of course, there is a form, so, as it were, two again a t-shirt, shorts, and a child. For example, on Tuesdays goes to additional classes in Glasslands, physical education, there is one handbag, there are all sorts of balls, whistles, jump ropes and bags just put on all sorts of badges, because in order to the child could immediately distinguish that this was his, and not someone else. In the summer we have a uniform like this, here's such a dress, a badge and a Panama hat are also hung here there is, and also on holidays there is this one a blouse, you need to wear it on holidays, and one more thing such a white blouse with such a bow. And do you know how the winter uniform differs? What can you wear a jacket there? That is not a jacket, but a jacket, and you can go to kindergarten like this. I will also be extremely grateful if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. A big thank you to everyone for watching and see you in new videos. Bye bye!